Alright, so greetings once again. So this time around, we want to be continuing from where we stopped in our last tutorial. So we talked about data types and how they are very important for us to even start creating tables. So we said that they determine the type of values that the table can have, or specifically the type of value a column in a table can have. So we want to see how we can get familiar with some SQL syntax. So I will be writing our objective for today. Objectives. The first objective is create a database. Second objective is create a table. Create table in database. The next objective is review our results using the select statement. Alright, so these are our objectives for today. So now the first thing you want to do is to create a database. So I would call it tutorial. Very strict, very straightforward. So create database tutorial. Alright, so to create table in database, I would call the table tutorial table. Alright, so now the first thing we want to do is to create a database. So it's a very straightforward command we use. So create database tutorial. So you will notice now that when I said create database, it was highlighted in purple. So now every command in SQL that is highlighted, sorry, PostgreSQL, although they all use the SQL syntax, but they are upgrades to each other. So PostgreSQL is an upgrade of the SQL server, and PostgreSQL is a relational database management system. So when you hear relational, this simply means a database that deals with tables. So relational means table. So it's a database that handles or manages tables. So SQL is a single purpose language. What this simply means is that it is not multi-purpose. It's only used for managing databases and tables inside that database. That's all. So anytime you see a command highlighted in purple, this is an inbuilt command in PostgreSQL. So this simply means that I'm trying to create a table called tutorial. Very straightforward like that. Then you click save. So you want to come here to this icon, click save. So that has saved our work. And now you want to execute this command. Now if you want to execute a single command in your pgadmin, you highlight it. Does so. You highlight it, then you come here to the play icon and it will execute it for you. So you just give it some time and you wait for it to run. So it's creating a database, obviously, so it takes time. So now you will see that it says create database query returned successfully in 11 seconds, 162 milliseconds. Now, in order for your database to show here under your databases, you want to come here to databases, right click and click on refresh. So now this will refresh everything and show you the database you just created, tutorial. So we're going to be writing our other objectives here. So now since we're done with this objective, we want to asterisk it out. We are done with this, so just put a star in front of it and save. Now we're going to be working here. Mind you, we created this database while we were inside our master database, Postgres. Don't forget. So now we want to navigate here and start creating our tables. We're not here anymore. If we continue to write our other objectives here, it means we're carrying them out inside Postgres. But we want to carry out these other objectives inside our tutorial database. So you want to click on the drop down to start your tutorial database, and you want to right click on it, and you want to come down here to query tool, the same query tool. You click on query tool, you click on this folder icon again, and you want to open up your tutorial.sql. Remember, we have already created it. Just click on it and click open. And when you click on it, you would see what we just typed in our previous workspace. You can remember that this was what we typed when we were inside our Postgres database, but now we're inside our tutorial database. So now you want to close the previous tab that was opened. So just come here. This was the previous one. This is where we are now working in. You can see that they are the same name, but they were opened on different databases. This one was opened when I was inside my Postgres database, while this now is opened while I'm inside my tutorial database. So you want to come here, right click, and you click on remove panel. So now we are inside our tutorial database. So now the next objective is to create my table. So it's the same command. It's a SQL or PostgreSQL has very straightforward commands. So to create a table is the same thing. Just type create table, then you write the table name, create table, tutorial table. So now what we are doing here, we want to create the columns of a table. We want to create the columns of a table. Press enter, come here again, click enter. Although you can write it in a straight line, I just like writing mine like this. Like I said, you could have written it like this. While it's just like this, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So you can see it properly. Okay. So now we want to create a table. So now the first thing I want to do is to create a serial number. That is numbers that would allow us to number each row of our table. And SQL has a data type that I didn't mention called the serial data type. So now this is similar to your integer data types as well. It's similar to your integer data type, but the only difference is that it automatically generates numbers as I continue to insert values into a table. It continuously generates numbers, numbering each row as I insert rows into a table. So what this simply means is that if I insert row 1, it numbers it 1. If I insert row 2, it numbers it 2, like that, like that. So it generates numerical values by itself. So I want to create a table that has serial numbers, name, and course. So now the next column would be name. Now I put this double quotation mark because I'm writing them in capital letter. Now SQL does not see in capital letter. If I wrote it like this without the double quotation mark, SQL would most likely generate an error because of this special character. Or even if I didn't use this special character and I said SN, SQL is seeing this in small letters, but you wrote it in capital letter. But SQL would display the result in small letter. So for SQL to see it in capital letter also, and to also read special characters, you want to put them within a double quotation mark. Although it's not mandatory, you can decide to write it whichever way you want. But if you are not using your double quotation mark, do not put a special character. Alright, so the next one will be name. Now, there was a data type I didn't mention. Sorry about that. It's called the character data type. So now this data type is of 3 types. I would have to explain that again before I comment with the table. So we have the character data type. Now this character data type is of 3 types. So the first one is the character variant, the next one is the character, the next one is the text. Now this character variant allows us to take unlimited values without specifying. It allows us to take a mixture of both string values, numbers, and special characters, all of them written within a single quotation mark like this. All of them written within a single quotation mark. So mind you, it's different from creating a column title. It is different from creating a column title and writing and putting it within double quotation mark. This allows us, when you see anything using single quotation mark, we are simply talking about values in the column of a table that was created using a character data type. So character variant, or varchar for short, allows us to store values within quotation mark. So you can write anything within this quotation mark provided that it is within a quotation mark, like just like this. You can write something like this and it will be a character data type. So now what differentiates the 3 of them is that this allows us to store unlimited values, and you can also specify the exact number of values by writing them right after you have written your character variant, your varchar for short. You can specify how many characters you want that particular value to have, or how many characters you want values within that column to have. So maybe I have 10, I write 10 for example. It simply means that if I should insert a value inside a column that has been specified with varchar, I must not exceed 10 characters. So maybe I'm writing Adam Warlock, for example. This must not exceed 10. If it exceeds 10, I'm going to get an error. So you can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, including the white space. So the white space inclusive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see that this will give me an error. So you can change it to 15 or whichever one you want, provided it's within the range of values. Or to save yourself the stress, you can just leave it blank and this would automatically take unlimited values by itself. So it can take unlimited values, but if you want it to be specific, if you want to limit its ability of taking values, you can specify its limit. Now the next one is the character, is the CHAR data type under the character data type. So now this allows us to take a single value if not specified. So remember, this allows you to take unlimited values if not specified, while this allows you to take a single value if not specified. So if I'm using the CHAR data type, I'm only permitted to write a single value like this within a single quotation mark. If I'm using this, I'm only permitted to write a single value within a quotation mark. And I can also specify the number of characters I want it to have, maybe 200. So if I specify this, it means I can write anything ranging from 1 to 200, not exceeding that. I hope we get the picture. And the last one, text, allows us to store unlimited. So you cannot specify the number of values you want it to have, like the car and the varchar. Sorry, like the char and the varchar. So you cannot specify the values, the number of values you want it to have. It's unlimited, and they can all store characters within a single quotation mark, be it letters, numbers, or special characters. Alright, so hope that is clear. Alright, so back to our table. So now this table column is going to have a varchar. So I'm not going to specify the values, but you can if you want. I'll give it 50. This means that it must not exceed 50. Then I'll create another column that says cost, and this would also have my character variant. Give it 50 also. Alright, so now when you are creating the table, you make sure that you end it with a semicolon. So this is the command for creating the table. So you want to run that, want to execute, highlight it, and click on play. Now this would give you a successful message that you successfully created a table. So now the next thing we want to do is to insert data into that table. So you do so by writing the special command insert into. So insert into, that is the command for allowing us to impute data into a table. Then you write the table name, so tutorial. Then you open a parenthesis. So now you open a parenthesis and you specify the column names that you want to insert values into. You specify the column names you want to insert values into. So I will specify name and course. Now the reason why I'm not specifying serial number is because I already said that as I'm inserting rows into these two columns, it would automatically be numbering each row for me. So that is its work. So that is its work. And you press enter and you say values. Then so values allows us to specify the exact values I'm trying to enter into these columns. So so for the first one, like I said, we write them within single quotation mark. I said the column determines the values, the data type determines the value that this column can have. This determines the value that this column can have. So this tells me that as I'm inserting values into this column, those values would be of a form varchar and having a limit of 50 characters. So I'll just write Adam Warlock and put a comma. So you separate them with a comma, just the same way your column was separated. So the first column having these values, the second column having these values here. So the course will be chemistry. Then you put a comma. Then the next row, I would insert 3 rows. Ben Richards offering physics. Then the next one, Alex Sam. Then mathematics. So now when you are done with this, you want to end your query with a semicolon. You highlight it up to insert and you click the play button. This would automatically insert. Oh, sorry, tutorial table. My bad. So tutorial table. So that was the error. So you can see it tells us relation tutorial does not exist. So if you can remember, I said PostgreSQL is a relational database management system, which is the long name or the full name for RDBMS. So you can see that relation simply means table, so it does not exist. So this was the correct name because that was what we created here. So you want to highlight it again and you want to run your command. So you get a successfully insert. So now you can see that we have insert 03. What this simply means is that this is the number of rows that have been inserted. We've inserted just 3 rows into this table. The first row, the second row, the third row. Now the first column is for my name having all these values. The second column is for my course having all these values. Alright, so can see that we're done with that. So you want to check that. So this was create table and insert. So I would update that and insert. Put an asterisk. We're done with that objective. So now the last objective is to reveal our result. So we use the select statement to reveal the result. So the select statement goes like this: select. Then you can now start specifying the number of columns from that table that you want to show. So I can specify the serial number, put a comma, the name, put a comma, the course. Then you use the from keyword. You specify the table name, the tutorial table. So you can see that it's highlighting those special characters, select from. Although name too is a special character, but our SQL server or our PostgreSQL server allows us to use it as the name of a column without giving us errors. But it is also an input command in SQL. So the select and from, they allow us to be able to reveal data inserted or imputed into a table. So now this would reveal everything from our table. So you just highlight it and click on play, and you would see the result. So you just give it time to show. So you can see our table that we created, and it allows us to confirm the data types. So you can see the full name, character varying, when I explained that varchar is short for character varying. And you can see it's restricted to 50 characters, and the cost too is character varying as well. Then you can see the serial number I was talking about. Because of this serial data type, it allows us to automatically number each row for us as we are inserting those rows into our table. So you can see we get 1, 2, and 3. There's also another way that you can be able to select everything from a table. So I'll show you the second way. You see select asterisk from tutorial table. This will also give us the same thing as well. Select everything from tutorial table. So you can see that it does that for us. We get the same result. So this asterisk simply means all the columns. You can see that here we specified each column, but this asterisk means everything, all the columns. All right, so with that said, this brings us to the end of this series, this particular topic on select, creating a database, creating a table, inserting into that table, and revealing the result. So I hope we've been able to have a good picture on how to create a database, navigate into that database, and at the same time create our table and insert into that table. All right, so you want to save your work, and after that you can just sign out. All right, so till next time, we're going to continue our series in our next videos. So that's all for now. Thank you.